in my mind, it was always dad versus nature growing up. We had a bird feeder out back, and we always tried to keep the squirrels out of the bird feeder. Unsuccessfully, I might add, because squirrels are notoriously very agile. They would put baffle, like cut up tin cans and tie them on a string to put baffles on them, and the squirrels would get around them. Put wires on it. They'd bite through the wires and cut it down and get to the food. It was just frustrating to no end. It was really funny. And there was one day when we were somebody went into the garage in the evening and noticed there was a skunk in the garage, and the door was closed. So we had to open the door to get the skunk out. It's back before we had a garage door opener. So my dad would run out, he'd grab the garage door, fling it up, and run back into the house. Sometimes he flung it up so hard that it bounced right back down. Did it again, same thing happened. Third time we finally got it open. The skunk, we closed the door and let the skunk go. But why that skunk never got frightened and through the sound and noise and sprayed him, I have no idea.
Did spend a lot of time going on chemo. We would go there every other weekend pretty much. I don't know how he did the drive. It's a crazy drive. And we'd go there also in the summertime. I remember hiking up the mountain.
In the summers, we go to the Ermine Pool. All three of us were on the swim team there.
I know they were involved with swim meets in terms of timing and working on the scoring table and things like that.
Life was easy for us. I mean, we all went to school. We all did our activities. Dad came home. We would do projects with him on the weekends.
Yeah, I would help out a lot with different projects. I mean, my mom says that he sacrificed me all the time through these projects, setting me up a tree or something like that. But that's fine. I enjoyed helping, and I learned a lot.
I was born in Peoria, Illinois. I lived there for 6 months, 7 months, maybe 8 months. So unlike the other siblings, we moved to Cherry Hill right after that. Because my dad, heard about this computer stuff when he was working at Caterpillar Tractor Company and didn't like it, and heard about IBM, knew nothing about computers, and all of a sudden he's involved with IBM, and IBM stands for I've been moved. And we got moved to Cherry Hill, New Jersey.
Steve has been great. He worked for IBM and we worked for IBM. So he was a role model for both Andy and I at first, and then after Andy left IBM, still for me, sort of helping me and guiding me in which jobs and ways to go within the company. So that was kind of neat to have a mentor that was also a father-in-law.
The biggest thing is just creating a great family, atmosphere to grow up with. Value of, working hard, bettering yourself, of education. I think all those core things is really what Dad ingrained in me, I think. Which is, you need that for life, right?
I think he realized how much he missed out as a father growing up. I mean, my mother really did most of the raising of us. He would even admit to that. And I think he sort of feels like he missed out a little bit of that. So he's been trying to make up with grandkids. It's really nice.
Once we got settled and into our own family, he's been very involved with just the kids and making sure that the kids had kind of what they needed in terms of security, but also in terms of fun.
He used to get down on the ground and play with the kids when they were little.
When we would visit, he was great with the kids. Him playing games, playing Rummy Cube with them.
I have a very distinct memory of playing this game. I think it was called Penta.
Playing Penty with him, it was just like this board game that no one outside of our family has ever heard of. Just like a very simple strategy game, but I remember playing as a child. Like every time he would come visit, we would play with him. Every time we visited him, we would play, and got to a point where eventually, as we got older, we started beating him, and we stopped playing.
I like his smile. I feel like whenever I see him playing with any of the dogs, I just saw so much joy in his eyes and just smile. Playing tug of war, and eventually you lose because the dogs are just too strong, but the way he just cares is incredible.
His growing love of dogs was always something that I loved, because I always loved dogs and my parents weren't super into dogs. But when he started to get them and love them, it was you love animals too? This is great. It's something we could have bonded over. And when he fell in love with MRSA and all his other dogs, it was just I feel like that was something that we could connect about, was this new thing that I didn't know about him that maybe he developed over time. But it was we have that in common. Not only do you get cool dogs, you're also helping these animals that needed somewhere to go. So it's just a combination of like rescuing beautiful animals and having them.
It's been great grandfather. So interesting. First of all, he's always welcoming. Wherever I visit him, I guess in New Mexico or New Hampshire, I always feel super welcome.
Something that has been always like struck me just about Steve is that he's very welcoming. So I think you always, as someone like meeting your significant other's family for the first time, you're not quite sure how you'll be received. And I think Steve from the get-go has been just very open.
I met the Lowens 3 years before we got married. I met them at Okemo at their ski house, but it was during the summer. And Steve and Roz were like busy doing tennis or whatever sports that they were doing. And Andy had told them he was bringing a friend of his from school, Corey, to visit, and they had no idea I was female. And when we showed up, I was female. So it took them a few days to get over that. But that was my introduction to the family.
Yeah, I mean, it's just really kind, always welcoming and open, which has been great. I'm sure you experienced that too with your partner. But yeah, I mean, it's just been really good. Everyone in this family is just so nice. I think that's what we all try to strive to be, open with people that come in and out of the Lowen family.
We had our annual visits to New Mexico. We all loved going. Bill went out first and decided to retire there, I think, and then Suds. I don't know the order, and then Steve was after them because I don't think it was his intent at first. But he wound up there and embraced it, and of course, and we just, as you know, we all just loved going because it was so cool.
Santa Fe is beautiful. I mean, it's a beautiful part of the country. It's so different than here.
I feel very lucky to have had the opportunity to travel to such a unique place. The house was just really fun to explore, both inside and out. It was kind of in the middle of nowhere. And I remember like just being in the backyard and looking around, and there was like nothing.
We went out and we were in like elementary school, and we like visited like the pueblos and like all the other like Native American architecture and history. And I just remember visiting him, and it was very hot and dry. And I remember playing with Chaco.
General memory of the house in Santa Fe, the dogs, like Chaco, and I remember there's a room with a bunch of Beanie Babies in the corner. Some bunk beds that I'll stay there with my brother and sister.
Yeah, just being in New Mexico, in Santa Fe, I definitely have a memory of visiting Grandma Suds in the home she was in. I think there was like a fountain outside. Memories of stuff like the balloon festival, seeing the balloons, and going to a lot of the Native American places, seeing their like the marketplace and going to cave dwellings, and then just hanging out in Steve's home. That was such a beautiful place that it was one of my favorite places to be.
We did a ski trip out to Taos with Steve, and I was pretty young. And Taos is a very hard mountain. So learning how to ski all these different runs with Steve.
I remember just like being outside and doing everything New Mexico oriented that's just so different than here in New England. So I remember walking even just around their house and seeing all the cacti and all of like the dry land, and just like it's these little like just like concrete images that I have just even from just like being around there. And that's like not even to say like the things that we did. I'm always gonna remember visiting like all of the Indian pueblos, seeing like the beauty of like some of like the architecture and history out there, and again just like how beautiful and like special that place was, and how much fun it was to like spend that time with Grandpa Steve. And it's great that like all these memories are tied with New Mexico, and it's been great having them up here, more recently, and being able to spend more time up here in the Northeast now that we've kind of gotten a little older, and probably appreciate and remember a lot more like the family time together.
I like that he lives in New Hampshire. He picked a beautiful place to live. He's got good taste. And yeah, I'm happy that I don't live too far away.
So this past couple years, we've been able to have more family gatherings. Like he came down to your housewarming. He was at Passover most recently, and had like a dinner in January this year to like welcome in the new year.
I think it's a testament to him and how much he's loved that everybody came out to celebrate his 90th birthday. It's just really touching.
Even today shows it, right? Like today's been such a special day with all the family coming together, and how many people have come from all over just to spend time as the Lowen family. And it's been really special having him being like that linking force that like kind of brings us all together.
The memory that stands out to me the most was actually coming up here for one of the holidays, and it was snowing, and we brought Waggles for the first time, and we had just moved down to Nashville, so coming back here was really fun, and it was just awesome to be back and to spend time all together.
He's a very good storyteller, and I hope that I inherit that from him.
Just different stories about when he was a kid and his dad and the people that they were, he was involved with working on the docks and things like that. And those stories were very funny because they were somewhat unsavory characters, but it was just part of his life growing up because that's who his dad dealt with.
I love Steve's laugh. I love when he makes jokes. His sense of humor. That's probably my favorite thing. I like to think that I have a sense of humor that comes from him too.
In high school, I was studying for SATs, and they were visiting, and I was like stressed out as a little high schooler and studying vocab flashcards on the couch. And he was just walking by, and he was like, "Oh, like what word are you on?" And I was like, "Insipid." And he said, "Oh, to drink through a straw." And I was like, "What?" He was like, "You insipid, to drink through a straw." And I was just like, "God damn it. I'm never going to know the definition of this word now because that's just too good."
Steve is quiet but sweet, and it's like man of very few words, but he's like very reliable. So he's kind of always been there, and I feel like it's even though he doesn't say much, it's just like when he does say something, it's funny or it's really sweet and it's really nice.
He's always interested in hearing about what you're doing. And he has a very inquisitive look about him. So, how's everything? Or how's work? And he says it in a very serious way.
I love that he always has something interesting to talk about. He's such a great conversationalist. He can talk about politics or travel or any, fixing things, just all kinds of stuff. He's so interesting.
I love Steve's mind. I love that whenever I'm with him, he is thinking about current events or he's thinking about something important in the world and shares that with you. And it's not opinionated, it's just factual, and that's what I enjoy the most.
Talking about politics, he always has really interesting, he can tell me a lot of stuff about the past and history and how things were. So I've enjoyed hearing all of that because that gives me a better perspective on, everything that's happening today. So.
Every time that I'm with Steve, I'm learning something new about him. Just like places that he's been, things that he's done. It's just like amazing that he has such a breadth of knowledge, and he's someone where you can talk to about a variety of subjects with, and it's always very like engaging and intriguing.
His longevity is very inspirational. Just that fact that he's playing pickleball at 87.
Then I went to Santa Fe Basin ski area. Everybody there is like retired and older. Funniest thing is we're sitting around and everybody, all they're doing talking about which part of the body they've had replaced so they could keep skiing. And it's just kind of introduced me to the world he was in, the acting world.
Watching him do all the travel over the years, that's definitely something I want to do when I retire.
I hope I age like he does. He has had a great retirement. I mean, they've been able to travel from all kinds of things, skiing and camping and safaris and cruises, everything. And that's, great retirement. And he worked hard for that. You earned it, right?
I mean, I always loved listening to Steve talk about all the different trips he went on. Once get him talking about a different location that he's been on, I'm like learning all these cool things and like wanting to go there.
You know, travel to what was the number, like 73 or something, different countries, and like still manage to like be closed off. You have to like be receptive to other cultures around you. So I think like, just being willing to search that out and like new experiences attracts like a certain mentality, and I think that's important. Just traveling and hearing people, listening, and just seeing the world, seeing the differences, seeing the similarities, and kind of like finding a good balance between the two.
You have had such a wonderful, interesting, well-traveled life, and you have so much love coming at you from so many people.
We're just so grateful for all of your dedication to your family, and we love you.
Steve, love you a lot, and this party is great, and I hope that we can spend a lot more time together.
I just want to say happy birthday. I think it's awesome. I'm so glad we were able to do this today.
Happy birthday. Glad we were able to set up this event and you have a lot of family members and friends here.
We love you, and that we're so happy to be here, and that we're all able to get together, and that we care, and I hope that it shows.
Grandpa Steve, I love you so much. It's been amazing being able to spend time with you.
I love your stories. I love you. I love spending time with you, even if it's just sitting and playing with the dog. Like, yeah, it's been amazing, and I hope that we can keep sitting and talking and just enjoy that time together.
Love you, Dad. Bye.
It is my 90th birthday. It feels glorious because having a whole family here is super, and I'm very proud of the family. And it's a celebration not only of my 90th birthday, but it's a celebration of everybody coming together. And I really appreciate it. Almost everybody made it. Very few exceptions. And it's a great get-together. I'm so glad we moved from Santa Fe here and give an opportunity to really integrate within the family. And being here and being able to see people and see the family and see the grandchildren and be really integrated within the family again. It's marvelous. I'm so glad we moved here. And I feel very fortunate that we found what we wanted in terms of a nice condominium association. And it's worked out beautifully. It really has. Since I've retired, I have been active in the community. I've been in Santa Fe, for instance. I was president of the Santa Fe Community Organization, ECIA, Eldorado Community Association. Here, likewise, I've been active in the community itself. I've done an awful lot of reading. I've done a lot of local traveling around, seeing a lot of visiting of family and things of this nature. It's been a quiet, in a way, retirement. We're not on any kind of schedule or anything like that, and that's good. So I try to do my exercising. I try to stay healthy. I try to walk, make sure I walk every day, and do my exercises every day. And basically with Parkinson's, you got to do that. And if you do that, then you're doing okay. And that's what I've been trying to do. Next year, I hope we're going to go on a trip. What I'm hoping we're going to be able to do is take a Great Lakes cruise around up to Lake Superior and around, leaving say from Chicago and then coming back say through Montreal or something of that nature. And that's what we hope we're going to be able to do say in October, when the weather is usually great and it's not crowded, and that's what we're hoping I'll be able to do. I see no reason why I can't do it. um, and you know, that's the plan. The only thing I really want to tell them, I'm extremely proud of them. I'm extremely proud of the family as a whole. Um, I think that their sons have done what they want to do and doing very well. I think their wives have been very, very successful and doing very well. Uh, it's just it's kind of an ideal situation. You don't find that in too many families. And I feel extremely lucky and extremely fortunate that it has, you know, that's the way it is. I feel for the three families, you know, are good friends. They really are. And the grandchildren are good friends. And it's truly a family of several generations, but they're all part of the same family. And and it's worked beautifully. And I feel very fortunate.